Hey folks, coming to you with your video update a little bit earlier than typical for this week because I want to make sure you've got plenty of time to get ready for this Sunday. So two things that are important to know. The first is that this Sunday is Dedication Sunday. We will be making or returning our pledge cards to the church. So you can do that, of course, in advance if you want to mail yours in, or you can make your pledge online, and you can access that on our church website. But also this Sunday, both Sunday morning in worship and Sunday evening in Vespers, you can bring your pledge cards then. So you'll hear more about that from other videos and moments for gratitude and other ways. So I won't go too more on about that. I just want to flag that for your attention. The other, though, of course, as you no doubt have heard in our newsletter and churchwide mailings and emails and other communications, this Sunday, October 18th, is our first Sunday back, or at least somewhat back. This is phasing into the next part of our returning process, where we will have a hybrid model of worship for Sunday morning. It will be both live streamed online through YouTube and Facebook, just like we do each Sunday, and there will be an online worship. That's online. There'll be an in-person worship opportunity. So I want to make sure to walk you through a little bit of that. Now, attached with this video is a link to read the full protocols for worship. They've been slightly tweaked since the last time we sent them out. But here, the front of the sanctuary looks pretty similar to the way it's looked for many Sundays when you've gathered online. But the back, or the rest of the sanctuary, I should say, has a different feel to it, all right? So I want you to see something. You see, look, every other pew, there is a reserved marker telling you where not to sit. In case you get confused, there's also a bright blue sign that says, please do not sit here. I'm sure you can navigate that. What we're doing, in order to have 6 feet of separation between worshipers, is we're skipping each pew, or we're skipping every other pew, so alternating pews. So the back of your head and the front of the head of the person behind you are 6 feet apart. We're also only seating people on the extreme ends. So for instance, well, let me go further back so you can see. So this is a spot to sit, but you got to go all the way to the other end of the pew. Nothing in the middle, so that there's plenty of space on either side for worshipers. All right? So that makes sense? So if you're a household or a group of people worshiping together of 1, 2, or 3 people, there's enough space. You'll sit on just one end of a pew, and the other extreme end is more than 6 feet away, even if you had 3 on one side, 3 on the other, right? So we have put the tape measures to work at the church, trust me. We also have the balcony available, and the balcony is going to be, at least initially, for families or households that are worshiping together of 4 people or more. And so there'll be a little bit more room for kids if they need to wiggle and move some. One pew, and the pews are shorter up there also. So 1 pew available, 1 pew not. 1 pew available, 1 pew not. So it's not just sitting on corners, but that whole short pew is available. Our handicap accessible seating is part of what is available as well. So if you need to know about that. The doors, all the exterior doors to the building will be locked except the narthex. Well, there's one exception that I'll talk about in a second. But the narthex. So in other words, we don't want you to come in any of the back side doors. We want you to all come in through the narthex. And there, an usher should greet you outside and say welcome and how many people are in your party. And they're going to keep you in a spot. We've got tape on the floor, 6 feet apart, inside but also outside onto the outer covered area. So usher is going to greet you outside, how many people in your party, keep you together as a group, and then you'll move down the line and you'll come in through the narthex. You'll be directed by an usher who will tell you, probably like an air traffic controller, come sit here, right? You'll be guided where to sit.
there will be one bulletin for each worshiping household that's already in your seat waiting on you to be here. And those bulletins will have been placed there Thursday afternoon, which means they have been sitting for plenty long enough to be germ-free. So there won't be passing out bulletins. Now, we will continue, as we have been, producing our bulletins online in advance. So on Friday, everyone gets the bulletin emailed to them. So here's what that means. If you're coming and you want to have a bulletin for each person in your family, you know there's going to be one sitting on your pew waiting on you to arrive. But if you need another 2 or 3 more, we ask then that you print those on your own and bring them with you to worship. So you've got all sorts of options. Now, the bulletin will guide you through the service, but what you will not see in there are any unison readings or responsive readings. We'll still have the Lord's Prayer and the Apostles' Creed, but we will either pray or affirm those words silently in our hearts. They'll be led by one worship leader, but we're not going to speak in unison together. Of course, we're not going to sing in unison together either. We'll have a cantor who will be leading the music, and we're still going to stand, if able, for the hymns, and we're going to have our hymnals open to the right number, but we're going to follow along and silently meditate on the words as the cantor leads them for us. It'd be too disruptive. I'm not going to pull the camera away and show you, but there are, at each exit, there are offering plates. So each Sunday you can put your offering in the offering plate, either on your way in or on your way out of worship, but we will not pass offering plates. The friendship registers, there are now 2 on each pew that is available, but we're not asking that everyone sign them. Normally we'd say, oh, everybody sign your name and pass them. Well, of course we're not passing them, but now, as you'll see, we're only asking for visitor information. So if you're a visitor, especially a first-time visitor, but if you're not a member of the church, if you're visiting with us, we would love for you to let us know your name and contact information, and we can follow up. But if you're a member of the church, we're not asking you to sign in any way. Patterns are different right now. Let's see. Oh, I mentioned exits, of course. So here's how this is going to work. You're going to be guided in by an usher. And in the old days, 2019, when the benediction finished and the postlude began, you just stood up when you were ready to go and you left. Well, not anymore. Now you're going to be seated for the benediction, and we ask that you stay seated. And then during the postlude, an usher will come and dismiss you one pew at a time, and will dismiss you to a particular exit. All right? So if you're sitting on the back half of the sanctuary on this side, you're going to go out that far narthex door. If you're in the back half on this side, you're going to go out that narthex door. If you're in the front half over here on the pulpit side, you're going to go out the side door right next to the pulpit. The door, when you open, you're looking immediately at the fellowship hall. Same thing, if you're in the front half on the lectern side, the baptismal font side, you're going to go out this side door that faces directly towards the choir rooms, right? So we all come in one entrance and we all exit out differently as the ushers guide us and direct us. The margin notes, if you noticed this past week, we sort of did a trial run on this. The margin notes in the bulletin get into more specific details about various parts of worship with safety in mind. I mentioned there's one other door, right, that will be unlocked, and that is the side entrance to the fellowship hall. Not the side that's closest to the chapel, but the side of the fellowship hall that's closest to the sanctuary. There's one side door there, and that's the one we picked, of course, because you don't have to navigate stairs, so it's the most easily accessible to get in and out. That door will be unlocked. There'll be an usher stationed in the fellowship hall, and that person will be able to guide you. There'll be about 40 or so seats set up in there, all, again, social distance, 6 feet or more apart, and your bulletin will be sitting on your seat there in the fellowship hall. So we think we're guessing an average capacity to be right around 150. We can do a little bit more than that. We probably will have less than that, at least at first, but we think with space that there's plenty of space and airflow to navigate. The main issue for us is distance. That's what we've got to navigate or make wise decisions about. So all the details of the worship protocols, these new worship protocols, as I mentioned, are included in a link with this video in the description, as well as the church-wide email will have a link to this video and separate links for each of those protocols. There's also a chart that shows you kind of a visual of how to come in and how to go out, but again, you don't need to know that on your own so much as you just need to know to follow the instructions of the ushers. They're going to guide you. We had a great usher training session this past Sunday to get those folks. These are sort of super ushers that are ready to do some heavy lifting. So, want to make sure you know all of that. This Sunday, Sunday morning and Sunday night, Vespers, Dedication Sunday, and this Sunday morning is our first Sunday back with an in-person component to worship. But again, it's a hybrid as well. So if you are not comfortable coming back, that's fine. You won't be excluded or left out. Our worship service will be live streamed just like it has been on Sunday mornings. So you're still able to be just as included. Now, you'll see the back of some people's heads on a few of the wide camera shots. And you'll notice that, we're not only making eye contact with that little dot right there that is the camera. You'll also see that Anna and myself and our cantor will be looking at people in the room. But one other thing I should have mentioned, right? So you've probably noticed the last few weeks we've been leading the children's message from the baptismal font, which is, I think, kind of a cool idea symbolically and to connect those baptismal promises we make to raise children in the church. That's a fitting place to lead that part of the service. But we're doing that rather than sitting on the front steps because any household that comes with children, that's more than welcome. We love that. But your kids are going to stay with you in the pew the entire time that you're here, okay? There's no nursery, right? You come as a family, you stay as a family, you leave as a family. This is for the safety of everyone. So there's not a nursery provided, and there's not a separate children's church where the kids will leave. No, instead, you come, you stay seated together for the duration of the service. Of course, if you have a crying baby or something, you need to get out and go to the narthex or beyond outside. You're welcome to do that, of course. But so the baptismal font is where we're leading the children's message. So we're standing so that all the kids who are in the sanctuary can see us more easily without having to come forward. So kind of a logistical need that led to, I think, a important theological reminder. There's something really powerful about leading the children's message from the baptismal font, just as we've been doing our welcome each week from behind the communion table, right? As we celebrate the Christ welcome to all of us. So there's some interesting nuances that we're finding to our worship during this time that we would not have thought about or done in exactly the same way if it had been business as usual. So anyway, I hope that this video helps. I hope to see you Sunday. I hope you remember prayerfully your pledge to the church for Dedication Sunday. And I hope if you feel comfortable doing so, that you're able to join us Sunday. And if not, that you know that you're still always just as welcome online as well. All right, everybody. Thanks, and see you soon.